Making my way downtown, walking fast, talking loud. Where's Lex? Let's see if she's home.
Hello? Hey,
Lex?
Max. What's up?
We're supposed to be shooting a video.
Shit, is that today?
Yeah?
Fuck! I'm in the middle of a race. Can you wait for like 5 minutes?
I mean, I guess.
Okay, thanks. Okay, Max, I'm done. Second place. It is what it is. Oh. Oil change time. Hello, and welcome to another episode of SlowCarShop. Today I thought I would show you guys how to do an oil change on the beautiful Mazda 323 that I have. Car maintenance is my focus. It is the most important thing, especially when you own these old cars like I do. Don't ask me why, but I do. Keeping them up to date with maintenance is super important because their engines are old and they need a little bit of help. The Mazda has been neglected, to say the least. So I am here to give her the tender love and care that she didn't get as a child, just like myself. With an engine that's made up of a lot of moving parts, especially ones that are working with a lot of heat and a lot of compression, there is going to be some wear and tear on the pieces of the engine. Oil helps reduce friction, helps clean out the engine, and it is super important for all cars to function, except Teslas. Those are not real cars. They are bicycles. Anyway, oil is a very important part of your engine. There are many different brands of oil, and honestly, it's kind of same shit, different fart. It's mostly the same stuff, just different additives and different ways to spend your money. In terms of oil, you've got two things to choose from, conventional or synthetic. Conventional oil is run-of-the-mill. It's what I use in all of my cars. It doesn't last as long as synthetic oil, meaning you can't run your engine as long and you don't get as many miles out of it. Synthetic oil has more additives in it, which help clean your engine a little bit more. In a lot of newer cars, they use synthetic oil just because higher compression, you need some more cleaning, more lubricating going on in there. Whether you're using synthetic or conventional, what matters is that you keep your oil changes consistent. A lot of people will just get a synthetic oil and just think, oh, whatever, it's fine. I don't need to do an oil change regularly because I've got synthetic oil. That is not true. I like to stick with conventional oil because it reminds me that I need to do my oil changes every so often, which I would do anyway. But in my experience, a lot of people who run synthetic get a little bit lazy with it. I do not be getting a little bit lazy with it. So it doesn't really matter what type of oil you use. What matters more is how often you're doing your oil changes and the filter that you're using. So we've got some Pennzoil, 10W30. Every bottle of oil has a rating on it. And that rating usually has a W in the middle of it. And it'll usually say SAE, and that doesn't mean synthetic. SAE means Society of Automotive Engineers. The Society of Automotive Engineers has given this oil a specific rating. These numbers represent the weight of the oil, which translates into the viscosity of the oil. So every car, every engine requires a different viscosity of oil. It's always important to look in your owner's manual. That'll have all of your vehicle specifications for things like oil, coolant level, that kind of thing. And I'm gonna look in here and we're gonna figure out what kind of oil Mazda needs. Right there, 10W30. The other thing you're gonna need is an oil filter. Oil filters are very important. They filter the oil in your engine so that everything stays super clean and thus your engine will stay clean. There are many different brands of oil filters. These are vehicle specific. So just like the oil, you're gonna wanna look in your owner's manual for what specifications of oil filter you're gonna need. My Mazda is an HP 1008 for this specific brand, which is K&N. I'm a big fan of K&N. They're like the performance oil filters because, you know, she's a performance car, what can I say? I'm a K&N bitch through and through, and I'll stick to that. There's no real reason besides the fact that I know that they work and they do a good job. So this number will change depending on what brand you're using. It's always important to look up in whatever store you're buying from. Just tell them your year, make, and model, and they'll figure it out for you if you can't. Next thing you're gonna need is either wheel ramps if your car runs, which is not the case for mine. So we're gonna use a jack. This is a 3-ton jack. This is a really very good jack. I invested in this because I am an owner of broken cars and I felt like it was a worthy investment. Now, I used to think that 3 tons meant that the jack itself weighed 3 tons. That's not correct. So this jack is rated for 3 tons, meaning up to vehicles that are 3 tons heavy. You're also gonna need at least 2 jack stands, or you could get by with 1, but you're gonna need jack stands for sure. You do not do work on a car while it is just up on a jack. That's a big no-no. That is a health and safety concern, and I will personally come to your house and bully you if you do such thing. Jack stands, very important. Jack, very important. The other things that you might need, or most definitely will need, are some tools and some really odd storage grocery bins to carry them in because your socket set is broken and won't close properly. You're also gonna need something to collect the oil in. A lot of cities don't let people do oil changes on public streets because people make a mess doing them. Stop doing that. It's not that hard. This costs like $5. You also might need some PB blaster. Hardly know her. That is for stuck-on bolts, which my car probably has a lot of. Also some microfibers, always a must, and some paper towel just in case you need to soak anything up. A funnel for putting oil into your car. And you're also gonna need something to put the oil in once you have put it in the pan, because you're not gonna wanna take that pan anywhere. And you need to dispose of oil properly. You're also gonna need a socket set, which is in this bag. Trust me, bro. I'm not taking it out of here because it will fall apart. And you're gonna need literally a ratchet. That's pretty much it, which is in the back of my car. I was gonna say please ignore the giant 12-inch sub in my hatch, but don't ignore it. Look at my 12-inch sub with anime stickers on it. If that doesn't scream Civic driver, I don't know what does. Tools. Now, if you are working on your car outside like I am, you might find this pavement a little bit uncomfortable to lay on. To solve this problem, we're gonna go dumpster diving.
You mean going to your house?
I mean, we're gonna go to my house for a second and find some items. Dumpsters can be a great resource for car work, as you can see. There we go, we've got a creeper right there. No wheels, no problem. This looks like a mess. Unboxing video. Beautiful. Magnifique. Sorry, I'm not gonna do the French accent again. Let's start by jacking the car up so we can get underneath and drain the oil from the drain pan. Now, every car is gonna have specific points where you can jack it up and spots that you don't wanna jack it up. Generally, you don't want to jack a car up on the pinch welds. These places where the frame kind of meets the underbody of the car, you don't want to jack a car up from these points as they're quite fragile and the entire weight of the car would be resting on that. So, usually places to jack up cars include metal parts of the frame and also tow hooks. You can also jack your car up from a tow hook if you have a light car, which I do. So usually I look for a tow hook underneath the car or just a really solid piece of metal, which happens to be about right there. So you just kind of give her a little knock. Can I come in? And we go in. You're gonna wanna straighten your jack as you're doing it and just make sure that it is not destroying anything. Looks like we're good to go. Going up. Let's see if we can get our jack stands under here now. Now I'm not gonna go fully under the car when I'm testing these because again, the car is currently resting on the jack and you always wanna keep in mind that the jack can fail you at any time. That is a safety recommendation. So where can we put these jack stands? So generally a good place to put jack stands is where there's a solid beam of metal, like right here. You don't want to put it like here because once you rest the car on the jack stands, it might just fall through into the floor. So you want to find the frame rails generally to put the jack stands on. Not quite. So we need to get her up just a little bit more. All right, that may suffice. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Thanks, brother.
Here comes the king, here comes the big number one. But wiser
Much needed.
The king is second to none.
Thank you.
Disclaimer, I am of legal drinking age. Okay, so the jack stand has made its way under the frame rail. I'm gonna go around to the other side. We're gonna put the other jack stand in the same spot. Oh, that's a little bit silly and goofy. All right, now you're gonna wanna lower your jack once your jack stands are in a good, safe place. And to do that, with this one, I'm gonna twist it ever so slightly to the left. It can be a little bit touchy, but you'll see the car come down and it'll rest on the jack stands, hopefully. I mean, there's no reason why it shouldn't. I'm just gonna double check though. Always better to double check, especially when safety is involved. Double check, make sure everything's all good. Very important safety thing that I want to mention. Before you actually go under your car, once it's on the jack stands, do a little test just to make sure it's secure and it's not going to fall on you while you're under there. That would be bad. So while you're underneath your car, you're going to want to locate your drain pan, and it is usually the thing that is covered in a little bit of oil. You will also notice that there's a drain pan bolt. That bolt is where your oil comes out. So the most annoying part is finding the right socket size for your drain pan. I don't know what this one is, but we're gonna figure it out. It's probably metric. This one is a 5/8. Probably not gonna fit. No, most JDM cars are in metric sizing for sockets. 11/16, like what the fuck is this? 11/16. Like shut up. Pick one. Are you 11 or are you 16? Oh, cool. 17. I'm guessing it's either gonna be a 17 or a 19. We're gonna see.
We place bets?
Place bets.
I put $5 on the 17.
I put $0 on anything because I'm broke. Max just lost $5. How's it feel? Damn it, I should have put something on him. Fuck. So it's the 19 millimeter that is gonna work. So now that we've discovered that we need a 19 millimeter socket for our drain pan bolt, we're gonna find the appropriate ratchet that goes into it, which is this one. If you never used a ratchet before, it turns two ways. Righty-tighty, you flip this little bad boy the other way, lefty-loosey. Okay? It's kind of hard when you get to like rotational. Trust me, I get confused too, but it's okay. Righty-tighty, and then lefty-loosey. That's all you gotta remember. First thing I'm gonna do before I even try to get this bolt unstuck is spray some PB Blaster on it. This basically just lubricates bolts. Drink up. So it's gonna take, I usually give it a couple minutes just to let it soak in and really penetrate. After all, PB stands for penetrating balls. I mean bolts. All I know is it says the original nut and bolt buster, and I'd like to correct them on that. I was definitely the original nut buster. So now that I've given it some time to really soak in there and penetrate, I'm a child. We are gonna go at this bolt and try and get it uncracked. With these drain pan bolts, you don't wanna just tighten it all the way off and then take it off. There is a secret technique. All right, let's go at this. Oh, my ratchet doesn't even fit. I love that. Let's see if I got an attachment. The most fun part about car stuff is that half of it is just sorting through and finding bolts, and then 25% of it is screaming and getting really mad. Oh man, I might not even have an adapter to be able to do this. Well, I've got this thing, which could just do the job. Will that work? This is the erectile dysfunction ratchet. Oh, will this work? No. Oh, maybe. Yep. Now we're gonna try and crack this bolt, which may be rather interesting. Oh, this is such a weird angle. Oh man. When was the last time this thing had a damn oil change? Probably never in its life. Okay, if something's not working, don't just keep hauling on it, because more force doesn't exactly mean better. So just double check that your ratchet's going the right way, and it could just be that this bolt is incredibly cruddy, which is probably the case. This is such an odd angle to be applying force at. This is fucking flex pipe, bro. This is not sealed at all. No wonder there's an exhaust leak. Oh my god. Who told me to buy this car? Me. Me. I actually don't know if I can do this way. I can't get this bolt unstuck, so I'm gonna have to recruit some reinforcements for the job. I know just the guy. Hey, I'm Al. Professional bolt guy. They call me to get off the bolts. I've been called to service a vehicle here. I'm not sure exactly which one I'm looking at. I'm on the job. Anywhere I am, the bolt is off. I'll get it done no matter what. I don't care what it takes. The PB Blaster, hammer, your mom's ashes, I'll get that thing off. It's the grunts that get you going, you know? The more grunt you put into it, the more oomph you get out of it. You know what I mean? Grunt is actually a unit of measurement. Plan B. Sometimes if you just hit shit with the hammer enough times, something happens. That was about 4 grunts worth. Now let's see if we can get this mighty fine boy off here. Hey, gotta get it on there. See, I've never been good at finding the hole. Oh!
Does it do it?
And that's why I'm here, ladies and gentlemen. Now that the reinforcements have got the bolt cracked for us, ignore this. Now that we've got the bolt cracked, I can show you how to take this out properly when we go to drain the oil. So the secret when you get these bolts unstuck is don't unscrew it all the way in one go. You want to loosen it just enough to where it is finger loose, because as soon as you pull this out, all of the oil is gonna come out, and it's gonna kind of come out at like an angle. When you're unscrewing it, you're gonna wanna push in a little bit, just so it stays in there while you're loosening it from the threads. And then once you know it's fully out, you're gonna take it off really quick, and then you will avoid getting your hands messy, but it's kind of part of the job, so expect to get your hands a little bit messy. As I'm unscrewing this with my fingers, I am pushing the bolt in, not pulling it out. As you can see, the threads are coming out. And sometimes you're not going to do it perfectly. I want you to take note of how black that oil is. This is oil that has not been changed for a while, so it's a good thing we're doing this. This is not what your oil should look like, but it is normal for it to look like this after it's been run for a while. As it drains out, it has less liquid force. Yep, that's a thing. So I'm gonna move the drain pan a little bit closer to the hole as it starts draining a little bit slower, just to make sure that it is not making a mess. And that's why you have cardboard around as well, so that you're not getting any oil in the environment, because we don't wanna do that. Drain pan bolt. Here's the washer that we need. Gotta find that bad boy. Let's go find that bad boy. I'm sure it shouldn't be too hard to find. In fact, I feel like I'm getting a little bit of a whiff. I don't know where it's coming from. I found it! Oh my god, we might have found it. How convenient that this wonderful Toyota Altezza, who I have no idea who the owner is, it's just abandoned in this parking lot, has now revealed to me that it has the crush washer, the exact one that I needed for my 1990 Mazda 323, a totally unrelated car. This is amazing. The importance of a crush washer is that it is a barrier in between the drain pan bolt and the actual drain pan. And it's usually made of a material that is a bit more pliable, such as copper, or this one has a rubber ring around it. And the purpose of that is so that the steel bolt, when it meets this and mates with this, it'll crush it, and then it will seal it properly and make sure that no oil leaks out. This has a little bit of rubber over top of it, and I'm gonna put it on top of this bolt and get it on there nice and good. When I go to actually torque this down onto the drain pan, the pressure of that will essentially make it crush more, and that is why it's called a crush washer. Now you always want to use these once. They are one-time use things. So now I'm going to go ahead and take the oil filter off, which is something that you need to do before you replace the rest of the oil. And when you take the oil filter off, some oil is also going to come squirting out of there because there is a little bit stored in the oil filter. Oil filters should be, in theory, hand tight, so it shouldn't take an oil filter wrench to get them off. Like this one is hand tight, and you're gonna just slowly take it off. This one is coming off with just a few little turns. There might be some oil that may come out of there. There we go. Looks like not a whole lot dripped out. So now we've got the old oil filter off. Whatever brand this is, this looks, I have no idea. Made in Mexico. This might be the stock oil filter. Given the look of that oil, it's quite possible that this car's never had an oil change. So before you want to put the new oil filter on, you always want to lube the seal on it. That just makes sure that it is extra sealed, and you're going to lube it with the new oil, of course. So you're going to get your finger nice and juicy. And then you're gonna lube that seal real good, just to make sure that it seals properly. Just like that. And now we're gonna put it in the place where the old one was. There are some oil filters that are only accessible from underneath the car. There are some that are accessible from above the car. This one I think is both. Looks like it's caught onto the threads now, so we're good. And then we're just gonna hand tight. I'm a little bit weak, so I do it a little bit extra tight because my strength is, not a normal person's strength. You always want it to be hand tight. You do not want that to be on extra tight. It's very important. So now I'm going to go ahead and put this drain pan bolt back where it came from so that we can fill her up with oil. Don't make the classic mistake of putting your oil in before putting your drain pan bolt in, or you will end up with a little bit of a mess and an environmental hazard. Squish back under here. Find that hole. Nice and smooth, baby. And ow, I just did a bonky bonk. That's okay. Another thing with these oil pan bolts is a lot of mechanic shops will impact them with an impact gun, which is very bad, very bad. You're not supposed to over tighten anything. You want to be gentle with these as well. Don't over tighten them. You run the risk of stripping the threads on the bolt, and that also strips the threads inside of the drain pan, which is very bad. That happened on my Civic when I took it for an oil change one time out of laziness, and I will never do that again. So now our ratchet is on loosen mode. We're gonna put that bad boy to tighten mode if it decides to cooperate. And I'm gonna put that bolt back in. And as I put it in, I'm gonna tighten it just so the crush washer mates with it properly. I'm not gonna over tighten it on purpose because you just don't need to. You can go slow with it. You can be gentle. Take that off. Yep, seems pretty good. Got a good seal going on. And now it's time to put oil back in the car. Every car has a specified quantity of oil that it can take, and you don't want to put too much and you don't want to put too little. To find the oil capacity of your vehicle, all you need to know is the year, make, and model, and the model of your engine, because some models of cars can have different types of engines in them that take different amounts of oil. Okay, here we go. Oil capacity. The 1.6 liter engine is 3.4 liters or 3.6 quarts, and the 1.8 liter engine is 4 liters or 4.2 quarts. If you look up on the stickers above your hood, there is some important information on each of these, and included in the important information is the engine family, and it's telling me this is a 1.6 liter engine, which means that when I go to my manual, the oil capacity for the 1.6 liter engine is the one that I need, not the 1.8. So it's going to be 3.4 liters or 3.6 quarts. So this is where your oil filler cap is going to be located. It's going to be along your valve cover somewhere, and it would have an icon of a little oil pour thingy. We're going to take that bad boy off and just put it wherever your heart desires, but don't lose it. That is another thing that should also be hand tight. Every engine has an oil dipstick, and that is right here. And so this is how we would be checking the oil. We're not going to fill it all the way. We're going to fill it up a little ways, and then we're going to check the level of the oil. And it might not be accurate while the car is on jack stands, so we're probably going to take the car off the jack stands for this part, and then we are pretty much done after that. So all we got to do is pour some new oil into this bad boy, and then not start it because it doesn't have any coolant in it, and I don't know if it's going to run. So for this part, all you're going to need is a funnel. Make sure that it's relatively clean. You don't want to get any gross stuff in your nice new oil. You're going to put that right there. Boop-a-doop. And then we are going to take this and we are going to put 3 point something in there. When you're pouring oil, try not to get it everywhere. It's fine if you get it some places. It'll just burn off, but oil is quite hard to get off because, you know, it's oily. And you also want to check underneath in the meantime, just to make sure nothing's dripping out from the filter or the drain plug. Nope, so those are in securely. So now that we know that the oil is not leaking, that means the oil filter is sealed and the drain pan gasket is sealed. Drain pan gasket, drain pan bolt, same shit, different part. Now we know that they're not leaking, so we're gonna put the car down on the ground so we can get an accurate reading of the actual oil level, because right now the car is tilted like this, thus the oil dipstick probably won't give us an accurate reading of what the actual oil level is. There we go. Okay, good. We're on there. once you've got your car on the ground and you've got the recommended amount of oil in your engine or close to it, you're gonna go ahead and check your dipstick to make sure that there is oil in your engine. So you pull out your dipstick. You'll notice that there are some lines on your dipstick, and there is a full line on mine. Now when you have new oil, it's a little bit difficult to tell when your oil is actually full, because new oil, as you can see, is clear and not dirty. Once you make sure that there is at least half oil on the dipstick, you're gonna put that back in, and then you're gonna turn on your engine, you're gonna run your engine so the oil can cycle through, and then you're gonna go back and check the dipstick level again, then you're gonna fill it up back to its proper specifications. Because chances are, once the oil has gone and filled up the filter and all of the little parts in the engine that it needs to fill up, it won't be at the same level anymore. It'll probably be a little bit lower. So you're gonna need to add a little bit more oil. Now, this car's not going anywhere because it has a busted transmission, so I'm not too worried about the oil level right now. Before I run the engine, I wanna make sure that the engine is healthy, and I know that it's not right now. So I'm done here as far as oil goes. So I can pull my funnel out and I can wipe off any mess that I made with the oil. Just wanna get rid of anything that could cause a little bit of mess. And then I'm gonna put my oil cap back on. And it doesn't need to be super tight at all. Not at all. And then we're pretty much done here. Congratulations, you finished your oil change. So now, what do you do with this garbage right here? Well, there's a couple different things that you need to do with each one. So this old oil, this gets taken to an oil change place. Any oil change place near you will probably take it. Mr. Lube, Great Canadian Oil Change. I don't know what the oil change places are in any other country, so don't ask me. Any oil change shop should take old oil. Do not just throw this in the garbage. Do not put it in the ocean. Do not feed it to your cat or dog. Don't drink it. It's a biohazard. So we want to dispose of this properly because we want to take care of the environment. And that looks good on the car community as well. Now, to dispose of an oil filter, what you do is you put it upside down in your oil drain pan for 24 hours to let all of the oil drain out of it, and then you can just throw it in the recycling. Always want to make sure that you dispose of your oil properly and that there are no leaks. So we're going to do another little leak check just to make sure, because we want to take care of the environment. And that is how you do an oil change on your 1990 Mazda 323 and other cars as well. The oil filter will just be in a different place, a different position. You'll need different types of oil for different cars, so make sure you reference your owner's manual. Google is also helpful sometimes. Without a doubt, your owner's manual is the best place to find that information. Thank you so much for watching another episode of SlowCarShop, and we will have more maintenance videos for you coming up because this thing needs a lot of work. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to enjoy a delicious beverage in the comfort of my home.